Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. This is Jennifer. I want to welcome my new subscribers. There have been quite a few of you guys, so I really appreciate that. After I shared that I had reached 5K, a whole bunch more people subscribed. So I don't know if you were watching and hadn't subscribed yet, or you just found me. Either way, thank you so much. I did mention last week that I wanted to celebrate 5,000 subscribers in a small way, in a fun way. As I mentioned previously, I've been on YouTube for 18 years, so I'm not here trying to make big money or make this my career or anything like that. This is just my weekly show and tell, and I love that you're here for that. I have friends who do this with me, so if you're interested in finding their videos, there'll be a link in the description for Talk to Me Tuesday. On YouTube, when you hit 100,000 subscribers, you get a silver plaque. It's a big deal, it's a big celebration, and for people who are making this their job, that's a huge accomplishment. It means, they're gonna get opportunities for sponsorships and things like that. I don't have those aspirations, so I thought I would celebrate my little goal by making myself a 5,000 subscriber plaque. So this is not identical, obviously. Mine is quilted and machine embroidered. I turned the YouTube logo into just a simple embroidered design using my Brilliant software. I did base this on the official plaque, but I changed it a little bit for me. So mine says my name and 5,000 subscribers, which normally that would be, 100,000 or a million or whatever. And then instead of having another YouTube logo down here, I put a sewing machine in 2025. I'm really happy with this. It's super sweet, very simple. I mean, I don't have anything on the back. I'm just planning to use like red push pins, and I'm gonna put it on my wall back here. So that's fun. I hope you guys like it. Definitely let me know what you think in comments. That was a fun little project just to celebrate. Last week I showed you some mending that I needed to do, and I did get to work on that. One thing that wasn't in the show and tell that was on the list was a blouse that I wanted to alter, which is this blouse. I bought this at Savers when Jules was here and we went thrifting, and this was already a blouse, but the way it was put together was a little weird. It was tacked, just basically tacked at the bottom of these sides, and there was a whole lot of side going on when you could see right down it. It was more like almost like a maybe a bathing suit cover up or something like that, but not that long. It's only like hip length, so it's not that long. So I did take a picture of the before so you can see what it looks like all spread out. So I took those little pieces of seam out, and then I just took the guides that I made myself for making scarf blouses, and I measured it, and I put the side seams in the same place, and then I did the elastic the same way. And I'll put a link or a couple of links to the shirts like that I've already done. I also added these butterflies because when I put it on the first time, this was just a big empty square. So I decided to go ahead and add a little bit more machine embroidery. And this is just something I already had, and I think it just gives it a little pop. It has embroidery here and here, and then it has embroidery around the colors. So it's been, looks like tie-dyed, and then it has embroidery following those lines. So I thought just a little bit of extra here would be, I just thought I'd give a little pop, make it a little bit more fun. And I do really like it, but I think I like the ones that are made from square scarves better. I just like the way it looks better. I like the way it hangs better. You definitely get less down here. So if that's what you're looking for, you might want a round scarf or tablecloth or whatever to make your shirt like this. I also mended a pair of pajama pants for my eldest child. I do not have those to show you guys because I already handed them off, but I did take a picture. I didn't get a before photo, but I did take an after photo, and they are a funky person who with a very vibrant personality. So I went funky on this repair, especially since they're pajama pants. I didn't have anything even remotely like this red plaid fabric, so I put something in there that was totally different. I did have some questions about how I fix my pants, my jeans, and whatever, and so I am kind of thinking I might do a little tutorial for that at some point. There's probably something like this out there, but this is something that I came up with a long time ago. It's entirely possible that someone else has already done it. But anyway, so I'm not trying to take credit for this so much as just tell you that this is how I do it. So for this pair of pajama pants specifically, pretend this is your pant leg. So this is your crotch seam. This is like where your the interior seam meets, the front and the back meet. There was basically a rip like right here. And so what I did was I sewed a piece of fabric straight across here. I didn't cut this or anything. I sewed this straight across, right sides together, and then I folded it out. And then I sewed, sometimes when I'm not being sassy about it, I try to cover this whole piece so that I can then sew that down and cut the piece away in the same shape. But I was trying to be a little sassy this time, so I didn't do it that way. I made more like a patch. And so then I folded that over and sewed it down. And then I just cut the excess away, sewed it back together. It takes a little time. Usually the hardest part is just getting the seam apart. Stick at it, make sure your seam ripper is sharp, and it's a really easy way to fix either a tear in the butt or a blown out crotch. If you would like an actual tutorial for this, let me know and I will try to work that into my schedule. I have a lot of stuff going on for the next little bit of time, but who knows, maybe I can work that in somehow. I also did the repair on the bag that I showed you guys last week. You may remember it had a very short little strap for a very short little person, and I took the whole strap off, and this is the strap. And it is now a long strap. So here is the black denim I showed you guys last week, and there's the snowflake fabric. I did not repair the front because, as I mentioned before, it has this stuff in it, so I gotta be careful here. As I mentioned before, I didn't repair the front because he didn't want it repaired. He wanted it to show the mileage, as it were. I also took a pocket out from the inside that he didn't use that was ripped, and I did some mending on the lining. The lining itself was fine, but some of the thread, the stitching had come out. While I was working on this, guys, this brought back so many memories. I made this in 2006, probably in the summer. At the time, I had like a little $200 Kenmore. I used that machine from 1998. Yes, 1998 until about 2008 or so. So about 10 years I used that machine as my exclusive only machine. I made so many things on that. And the reason I'm telling you this is occasionally I have someone say, oh, well, I want to sew, but I don't have the money to buy the kind of machine you have, or I don't have the money for the kind of tools you have. I haven't always had these kind of tools. I haven't always had a sewing room. I've sewn in a kitchen table. I sewed in my garage for a while, which you can find if you go back to early 2021. I was sewing in the garage. I've sewn in closets. My very first sewing room was a walk-in closet. Before I had anything else, I had a sewing machine before I had a table. I sewed on the floor for a while when I was very young, so like in my early 20s. So guys, you don't need to have all of this in order to make things that are fun and that you love and that bring you joy. So I don't want you to feel like there's some sort of financial barrier there, because there are many ways to get started, and it has taken me decades to get to this. This is a lifetime collection of stuff, and a lot of the tools that I have, I bought when I was selling patterns and teaching classes, and I had a good income for that kind of stuff. So I don't want you guys to think like there's this crazy barrier for you to get started and start making things. A big part of the reason that I am so into upcycling is that is how I started sewing. All of the things that I made in the very beginning, like when I was making clothes for my kids when they were little, almost all of them were made from thrifted clothing or shirts that my husband didn't wear anymore or things like that. So you guys, if you want to sew, you can find a way to get started. And if that's a thing you would like to talk about more, just leave me a comment. Finally, I have my stabilizer for the t-shirt quilt, so I can start working on those repairs. I had some credit over at waywack.com, which is sewing supplies. If you're not familiar, it's a great resource for sewing supplies and elastic and notions and bag making and that kind of stuff. But I had some credit on my account, so I used it toward getting myself a bolt of Heat and Bond Soft. So this is a woven soft cotton fusible interfacing. And I decided to go with a woven because I did non-woven last time. And I think it was too stretchy. And I think that's part of the reason the quilting popped out. I think there was a whole bunch of problems. And this is a different kind, a different brand. And I've used this for other t-shirt quilts, but I didn't use it for that one. So now that I have this, I can get started with that. And hopefully by next week, I'll have at least some repairs to show you. And yeah, we're going to start with this and we'll go from there. So that's going to be it for me this week, friends. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're safe, and I hope you get to spend time with people you love. I especially hope you get to be creative and find a little peace in your week. You guys have a wonderful week. Have a crafty week, and I will see you next week. Bye.